thanks for joining me today. It's Lori at Stampinology. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'm doing something different today. I know I told you guys last week, if you follow me. Oops, hold on. Forgot to pick these up. I told you last week that I was going to do something a little bit different this week. Last week, we put together a card kit, which is from Stampin' Up! It's called Alpine Air, which aren't these beautiful? Ta-da! And I thought, while I was putting it together, I thought, well, I love these cards, and I'm looking forward to sending them. But I don't need 3 cards just alike, so I thought I'm going to do something different. And this is what I have done. I have made a scrapbook page, and this is part 1 that I've made up here, and I'm going to assemble it together with you to do part 2. So this is a little bit about my scrapbooking background. I started scrapbooking when I was about 15. I did scrapbook in high school, and well, it's not a lot to look at. Scrapbook has certainly come a long way from what it was back then. Back then, we sort of cut out greeting cards and, just stuck school pictures and things in them. And then I got really interested in it when my son was born. So in my early 30s, I picked up scrapbooking and went crazy with it and did it for quite a few years until both of my kids got... Oh, if you're a mom, you know how it is. Once they start getting teenagers and they start doing other things and they start graduating, and family time is not what it used to be. It gets harder and harder to get them to go and do family things. So the scrapbooks kind of made their way into the, the top of the closet, and the crafting space sort of got turned to doing other things. But with Stampin' Up's brand new, scrapbooking stuff coming out. And I don't know, I've always loved scrapbooking. I thought, well, let's scrapbook again. So I'm scrapbooking. This is, that's me, believe it or not. And this is the first time I took my dad out on my sailboat. We used to have a sailboat. And so I wanted to, when I saw these colors, it made me think of sailing. And we kept our sailboat on a Lake Hartwell. It's a very huge lake. It's a dammed up lake. It's actually part of the Savannah River. And yeah, we kept our boat out on the lake, and we went out pretty much every weekend. And this is the first time my dad went out on the boat. So I'm going to put together part 2, but I want to talk about scrapbooking for just a minute. This is a classic layout. I took this out of my notes, and I kind of redid it a little bit because it was pretty grubby looking, and put in centimeters along with the other. So I'm going to leave this, double check my camera here. I'm going to leave this in the screen for a minute. So if you would like to copy this or take a screenshot, this used to be called, I don't know if it's what it's called anymore. I guess I'll have to start following scrapbookers now. But we used to call this a grid style layout with a center banner or center title, as you can see that's here. And if you take a look at my original, you can see the main squares are put out like this. And that's basically how you set it together. And this is a great jumping off point for anything. Now, I chose to make these journaling blocks, but you can make this a journaling block. These could just be all elements. This could be your title, or that could be your title. And what I have done for the one we're doing now is the facing page is going to be flipped up and upside down like this. So this is what we're working on right now. A lot of the elements I went on ahead and did. And I need to get my notes out here so I can get you some... Oh, this is one of the things I do, is I take scrap paper and cut it up and make my shapes. And then that way, as I'm going through my picture box, I can see sort of what I got to work with. So I need 3 this size, and I need 2 things that size, and there's my banner size. So I keep them out like this. You don't have to do this. This is just something that I do because I think it helps when you're going through your pictures. Because a lot of times, sometimes you start with an idea, like I did here with the Alpine Air. Sometimes you start with a handful of pictures. And so, you know, you scrap to either way. But regardless, what you want to do is you want to make the pictures the center stage. So what I have done here, which if you're a scrapbooker, you know, forgive me if I'm repeating double. I know a lot of the people who follow me are not scrapbookers. So I'm sort of doing some fill-in information. Anyway, this is my title that I made. And as you can see, it's sort of matching. And what I have done is I used the, where's it? I got it right here. No, that's wild ferns. It's the alphabet. Oh, I've lost it already. How quick. How quick. Mini alphabet is what it's called. Oop, there's my deckled rectangle, and there's my mini alphabet. And it is mini, so it's small. And so what I did was I took and I cut it out of the card base. And you can see the card base here. And I just basically put that on top of it and cut it out. And so now I have 2 sets of letters, because you could fit one on each side of the card. And that's where my letters came from. And the pictures, you can tell I cut straight off. So this one was the happy birthday one. Get that out of the way. And I'm going to affix this one here like this. Now, I did have to trim them. And if you go to my website, you can see I actually took a photograph of what I trimmed off. So you can see quite a bit is trimmed when I hold it up like that. Now, I used to own deckled scissors, scallop scissors, all kinds of scissors. And when I moved to the UK, a lot of my crafting stuff had to stay back. Just didn't have room for everything. And it was pretty expensive to ship. So, and since I wasn't doing a lot of scrapbooking, I didn't take a lot of it with me, which I'm regretting now. But regardless, I can get everything I need from Stampin' Up, so I'm pretty chuffed about that. So basically, we're going to be using these. So in the original, these were on the top, and now I'm going to put them along the bottom. And this is easy. You take this is the outside piece, and I've used, because I had to do some fiddling with getting them in there, these are not an exact measure. So I'm not actually going to give you any numbers on these, because you just have to do it. I mean, you have to cut it out. And like I was saying about the deckled scissors, I don't have deckled scissors anymore, but what I do have is a set of deckled rectangle dies, which I will show you. So you just want to center this up sort of best you can in there. And what you would do if you were, you know, making a straight up, oh, that's a little crooked. Which is nice with the decals, is if you get it a little crooked, it doesn't make that much difference. Little crooked's okay. I don't want to get too much though. Okay, that looks good. Give you some numbers, more numbers, more numbers. If you were going to treat this as just a regular frame instead of one that I've made up, this inside piece would measure 8.5 centimeters by 10 centimeters, or 3 5/16 by 3 5/8 long, like that. So I'll give that number to you in case you need it. This one, I think that is actually the size of this photo. That's roughly the size of this photo. Now, as you can tell, these are old photographs. I mean, just look how skinny I am, you can tell. In fact, these photographs are, well, we're about 40 years old. So they're a little faded. They're a little bit dull. Believe it or not, they came with, that's a full one. They came with rounded corners. So that's not something, but not all photo labs did that. And if you're young and you're watching me and you're going to go, what the heck is a photo lab? Well, back in the day, we used to have to buy film and we used to have to put it in a camera. And then we'd take the pictures and we'd take the pictures to the photo lab and then they would develop it. And then we would pay again to have to get the pictures, and half of the pictures would be crap, unless you're a professional photographer. And then even they'll tell you most of their pictures are crap as well. So what we have now, I mean, if I could have even imagined that I would have a phone. I mean, we didn't have cell phones back when these were taken. Okay, yes, there was such a thing as a cell phone, but it looked like a giant purse, and you just couldn't use it that many places. There weren't that many cell towers. So yeah, well, that's me, and I'm old. And if I had known then the way that we do pictures and things now, wow. Because I've had to do some fiddling to get this picture to fit. However, if this had been on a disc, I could have enlarged it or made it smaller, and I could have made the pictures just the exact size to fit this without actually cropping them off. I had to do these the old-fashioned way, which is why often when you scrapbook with a group of friends back in the day, you would go to what was called a crop. And you would spend the day or the afternoon or the evening or whatever, and you would sit and make scrapbook pages together. And that was, miss those days, really do. Well, I had such great fun. All right, now this one goes here. And now let's these. I am not fussed. I think scrapbook pages should have journaling on them. I feel very strongly about that. I think it's a good idea to show your handwriting, because that's something that changes from generation to generation. And I think it is a good idea to actually write thoughts and feelings in your scrapbook, as well as a description of what's going on. Now this particular trip out was the first time I took my dad out sailing. And my ex-husband and I, I'm going to be making more pages, but my ex-husband and I had a sailboat, and I was in my 20s, and this is what we did. We didn't have kids, we had a sailboat. And anybody who has a boat can understand when I say a boat is a great big hole in the water where you pour your money. But I never minded. I loved sailing. So anyway, this was my dad's first trip out. He had never been on a sailboat before. So this was his not only first time on a sailboat, but first time on a lake sailing. We were at Lake Hartwell, Georgia, which is a very big lake, as I said. It's actually a dammed lake where they dammed up part of the Savannah River to make a reservoir. Now I'm using here the industrial trinkets, because I think they fit in here really well. And I like just like I do with cards, I like my scrapbooks to have good texture. So I do these, let's see. Sometimes they work better sticking the dots down and then putting the thing on it. These are so big and chunky. I find they actually do better when I do it like that. Now I'm just trying to get sort of equidistance on each corner, not doing anything particularly crazy here. Let's put that picture down. And I'm using this particular glue, Stampin' Seal, is acid and lignin free. Probably why my pictures are in as good a shape as they are is they have always been stored in acid free and lignin free. It makes a big difference on keeping your memories alive. Now I have sort of centered that up here. And now what I'm going to do is, I don't know if you recognize these at all, but these are the tag pieces from, where are you? This one, the Thinking of You card. So what I did is I just wrote Lake Hartwell, Georgia on there, and I'll use this as one of my decorative elements. Yeah, decorative elements. I'm going to pop it up on some Stampin' Dimensionals. I did some checking. I have a pen that I can check. I I don't know if you can buy these anymore. It might be worth checking. But mine is still in good shape. All you do a little baking soda and I can do a test on it. But if a glue contains acid or lignin, I can find out, because you have to be careful with your adhesives as well. So I tested the dimensionals. I tested the glue dots, which is what I use to stick this down with. And I tested the liquid glue. You have to be careful with liquid glue and photographs because liquid. So that's kind of a no-brainer. But I did want to test it to make sure, so I could assure you guys that yes, this is acid and lignin free. Oops, I don't need this anymore. Oh, glue dots. Can't live without them. In case you guys have never used these before. And here's my dimensionals. Dad's first time. Now, I'm probably going to be doing a lot more of this. Well, I wouldn't say a lot more. I'm going to be doing more of it because, like I said, scrapbooking. And I have 3 boxes of pictures that when I was into scrapbooking, it was all about my kids. But you know what? I'm going to do this for myself. So, Dad's first time out. There we go. Now, that's it. That's how easy this was. For my decorative elements, I trimmed up my card front pieces. I used the card base. This is a card base. That's a card base. This is part of the card base using the letters. And I am going to have to clean these up a little bit. Letters are difficult to glue. You often will have little glue spoogies. So get that out of there because I can see that one. But before I actually will put them in the book, I'll double check them. I just want them to, I did this morning before I started filming, so I wanted to make sure everything was good and dry before I filmed. Now, the only thing I really did as far as measuring goes, because all the measuring is done when you cut the pieces, and for the first time, which is why I showed you the sheet. You can get all of your things on here, because basically from there to there, and there to there, and there to there, and here to here, and here to here, and there to there, and there to pretty much every space you see, that's all going to roughly be 1/4 of an inch. And you've got some play in it. There's some things that you need to learn. These, I'll put it this way so you can actually read it. But these all need to be lined up here, and they need to be lined up across there. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I am going to use a product that is not Stampin' Up. And I'll tell you what, if you don't have one of these, you should probably get one of these. I use this a lot because I do a lot of swipping. I swip between centimeters and inches. And so this is lovely because I'm going to put this on the back so you can see. I can just look down and do a one-on-one, and that helps me when I'm measuring, I'm trying to translate things for you guys. Anyway, so what I do is I know that you can start on the top, you can start on the bottom, you can start on the side. I like starting at the top. So we'll pull this down, and I'm going to put this across. And I know what's about 1/4 of an inch. I don't know if you can see it on the picture, and it's actually kind of high up. But there's can you see that? There's actually sort of a line here. So that's what I'm using. I'm going to put it here like this, and using the T part of the square to keep it straight. And I'm going to start putting these in. So the first one is my block. Now remember, on the other one, on the other side, I did it on the bottom. So you do make sure you put it right side up. Now I've got the end on my paper. I might need to stand up. Yes. And that's at 1/4 inch. Oops. Okay, now I'm going to do, I hope you could see that. I had to pull way down. Now I'm going to do down the side because these have to line up this way. So I've pushed this out. I'm measuring. I got this a tiny bit crooked. So I'm going to pull it up gently. Come on, let go for me. There we go. Now I'm going to do the bottom one, which sounds crazy, but that's the one we're going to do next. And hopefully this will help you guys if you decide to do this layout. Like I said, this is just like it's good to have a card layouts in your pocket. When you're a scrapbooker, it's good to have scrapbooking layouts. There's a lot of sort of standard-ish ones. Now I want that to be 1/4 inch from the top. And right there, like that. Now the one that goes in next is this one because we're working along the line here. Now you can take and make a giant stripe. I don't suggest it because most scrapbooks you're going to put them in sleeves anyway. Come on. So they're going to be squished and they're going to be stuck down really well. They're not going to have the kind of handling and mobility that a card would. Now let me line my T-square back up here like this. And you can do this with a regular ruler. And what I'm looking for is the same top and bottom. Don't stick down yet. Come on. Roughly like that. So you see, I'm not really measuring. I'm just sticking it in there. Now, because this one is so long, I am going to take a minute and make sure I've put it square this way. And it looks good. Because I don't know if you can tell, I'm lining the T-square up with the edge of the paper. So we've got that. Now, I think I can sit down now. I know when I stand up, I get louder because the microphone in my camera picks up the loudness. Now I'm going to work to the other side. And I'm going to go down this way. I'm going to do this one. Which, like I said, I hope you don't find this too boring. There's not a lot to tell. It's mostly just show and do. And like I said, few simple rules. You want, now see, I'm lining this up with the edge of this paper now. Like that. Because this one needs to sit in here like this. And I'm lightly going to put it in here in the right place. I am not going to push it down hard at all. So I can now go back to the top. Now a lot of the more modern, oh look at that, got it right off. A lot of the more modern scrapbooking layouts are not quite this precise. You don't have to be precise. I mean, this is called a grid for a reason because it's a grid layout. But not everything has a precise, you need this exactly there. A lot of the like I said, I haven't seen a lot of the more modern ones. And a lot of the ones I've done are not precise grid ones. But I do find that when you are working with something like this, nope, gotta stand again. It is a good idea to have one of these card T-squares, these small T-squares. To go up on me. Yep, I got it. Here we go. And then I just have the two more on the bottom. And that's got us. So I hope if you have any questions that you will pop them in the comments. I do hope you go and check out the blog because I've got everything written down in there. And you can get a screen grab of the, what do I call that thing? This thing. What do you call that? I don't know. Instructions? Over slightly. And so I get like using small amounts of tape. You can kind of lay it on there gently, and now I've got a little out. So what I'll do is I'll just take this a little out here. There, so they match. Okay, and then the last piece. And that is it. Okay, there we go. So this is how you use a card kit to make a scrapbook page. I hope that you have enjoyed this. I don't know in the camera, I don't think we can kind of show that it's going to be no, can't really, but you can kind of get an idea. So they'll go like that. So you can see how just flipping it over gives it a nice flow to things. And I've used the twine that matches. I use boho blue here, and that's the boho blue twine. There's boho blue, Night of Navy, and shaded spruce. So those are the colors that are in the Alpine Air Kit, and I just repeated them here. And the only actual scrapbook paper I used was the background here in Whisper White, which they do sell. Stampin' Up! Has. So the rest of this was just my regular A4 cardstock that I use. So I hope you enjoyed that. It was a very quick one. I hope you got some information. You know, learned a little bit about me, my 20-year-old self, I guess. I look at that and I think, wow, I just used to think I was fat. It's like, really? Oh, well, right? Anyway, you guys have a great weekend and a happy crafting. And if you liked this, and especially if you guys would like to see more scrapbooking, I'm going to be doing a little bit. I don't know how much, but I'm going to be doing a little bit because I do want to show you some of the awesome things Stampin' Up's coming out with. And they've got a kit that I have ordered that should be here any day now that is actually a scrapbooking kit. It's a what they call a workshop. So I'm looking forward to unpacking that and showing that to you guys. I don't know if I'll have, I like to unpack things so everybody can see them. So, okay, this is the kit. This is what you get. Open it up. But sometimes when you're wanting to add pictures or do things, you have to kind of get a feel for the pages, and then you can go back and add photographs. So I've looked at it. I don't have any ideas yet, so I might make it up with the, with the blanks. It says, put your memory here or something. But we'll see. It hasn't arrived yet. It should be here any day now. I just hoping we get here today. It's going to be tomorrow, I think. But these are what I have done, just freeform off the top of my head. I hope I have inspired you to do something. If nothing else, go look at those old pictures in the attic. And yeah, I hope if you like this kind of thing, I hope that you will subscribe. I hope I will get a thumbs up. If you're looking at this on Facebook, I would love a heart because I love you too. And you guys have a great afternoon. Thanks.